So hello, I'm going to do a Corona update video. I've got the mask I'm normally wearing when I'm out around my neck just to show what is the GVS Ellipse, but you know, I found this quite comfortable just to hang from my neck like that, and then if I need to do that to put up. But yeah, quite unfortunately a serious video, because if you haven't seen, the UK has now hit its worst day ever for Corona deaths. I think it was about 1,300 odd deaths. You know, maybe 1,352, I can't remember the exact number offhand, but I was waiting for the daily figures to come out before doing this video so it could be up to date as possible, and I think it was about 68,000 new infections. Now, we're probably just about starting to see the numbers from Christmas 2 weeks ago starting to come into the system, because obviously generally it seems to be that you take a few days from infection to show up for a testing centre to get a test to, you know, show up on the infection numbers, and generally it takes most people about 2 weeks to deteriorate from the point of infection to death. Not always, sometimes it's faster, sometimes it's slower, but so this gives you a good average. The Christmas numbers coming in, and any stupidity over Christmas, New Year is going to be showing up in probably the next week or two. Now, the reason these numbers are bad is because London, I think, now has something like 1 in 20 people infected. So if 1 in 20 people in the capital city are affected, or infected, that basically means the probability of somebody in London getting it now is very high, because if every 1 in 20 people you potentially come into contact with has corona, then obviously that is not a good thing. Now, the problem is in London, they're also running out of hospital spaces, so whether or not they're going to actually open the Nightingale hospitals, if they can staff them, that's the emergency hospitals, who knows? But the problem is ICUs and sort of emergency wards are pretty much at capacity now. So apparently they're running into the issues of they're running out of ambulances, and the ambulances they do have, if they've got somebody with corona in the back short of oxygen, they can't find a space for them in hospital, so they're just stuck in the back of an ambulance till they're told to take them to another hospital. So that's obviously not looking good. Now, obviously, if you're a youngish, healthyish person, corona probably isn't going to kill you, as we've discussed before. The problem is, if you end up being in a car accident or something else serious happens, your chances of being treated, you know, quickly and efficiently at a hospital are getting worse and worse every day. So that means it's bad. So obviously, for obvious reasons, if you, are safe and currently well, stay at home, you know, do what you're asked to do in the UK, wear a mask that's a proper respirator if you go out and about. If you do have to, you know, use hand sanitizer and everything else, follow good, you know, decontamination procedures, because luckily when I had to go out to do some essential banking today, because, you know, banks are open for obvious reasons, I had my mask on, hand sanitizer. Everybody else I saw at least today had a mask on. Unfortunately, you see on the radio and television and hear from people in lots of areas, you know, half the people aren't wearing masks or wearing them on their chin, you know, or wearing them like how I'm wearing this one now while out and about, which defeats the purpose of having them, you know, and that is not good. So, you know, the whole thing's pretty weary at this point, isn't it? We're into 2021. The good news is their vaccines are coming, but at the moment the vaccines aren't going to be coming fast enough to combat the rate of infection, because obviously this new strain is very infectious. Now, I'm going to completely guess that by the end of the month we will be at 100,000 deaths easily. I don't think the UK is quite at 80,000 deaths yet, but we're like, what, a week into January, if that, and we've got 3 weeks to go. And I seriously don't think that we can have less than 20,000 deaths now. We're about 21 days, considering the current numbers. You know, and as you get exponential growth, those numbers are going to go up faster and faster, and as hospitals get overwhelmed, the numbers are going to get worse and worse. So obviously, I don't want this to be like a really doomy video, but for obvious reasons, do what you're told to do, which is stay indoors, you know, stay with your family indoors, don't do anything unnecessary outside, and if you go out shopping for, you know, food or doing essential things, please obviously, you know, wash your hands properly, wear a mask, give other people space, and do everything you can to not put more strain on medical services. Because, you know, at the moment it's getting more grim and grim. And as I said, well, personally, I don't think people my age are in much particular issue. For the older people, you know, this is quite serious. And it is serious, of course, if you're just randomly in a car crash and then they can't put you in an ICU or an emergency ward because they don't have enough staff or space. So, you know, your chances of dying on the way to hospital or dying before an ambulance gets there get a lot worse because of that. So, obviously, I wish everybody well. It's not good numbers, but, you know, it's just getting worse at the moment.